GNS is building. Mdvl is building. INDO is still lingering around. Ah, this was the hot stock yesterday. SEV. Dang, look at that daily chart. This has got a lot of room to run. SEV. Yeah, you could see a squeeze on it up over 750. Let it build off that $7. If it can build off of 7, it's going to push up to clearly that 750. Consolidate, you could see it squeeze up over 750 and push to 850, but it's got to build off that 7 and prove itself. Then we'll see where that ALVR opens. It just reopened. So far, it's getting denied at $8. Too much resistance on ALVR. I don't like it. You got resistance at 8, $9, then you got natural resistance at 10. Too much overhead. Way too many people are in on this one too. It's clearly the number one stock on the day. I don't like to trade or focus on the number one stock. They're the hardest to trade. I like to focus on something like SBFM. This is where, to me, I find easy money. Good morning, Calvin. So SBFM, this is where I'm gonna focus. That ALVR can do whatever. Next level for SBFM is going to be 455, then 556. So we're going to have to take it in 50-cent levels with SBFM. Also in the corner of my eye, number 2 is GNS, as that's starting to build up off $6. And then number 3 is LLAP. Those are my top 3. I'll throw that SEV up the corner of my eye as well. SEV's gotta prove itself. Buy's been pulling back all morning. Keep your eye on the big picture though with the SPY. It's got a squeeze forming and going on. The SPY with the moving averages here on the 10-minute, and it broke out of that down channel and it held yesterday. So a nice little morning pullback for the SPY, and look for a continuation. LLAP's looking good. Mdvl is still building for that $3 break. It can build up off 250. SBFM stalled out up there. 430s. Let this pull back and build. Hold up at $4. That's our make it break it level there. $4 SBFM. And then LLAP is starting to get some momentum, pushing up to 6. Now this pulls back. 550 is going to be your level, LLAP. Sure enough, look what happened to ALVR. A lot of resistance up there at $8. Answers are right in front of your face on the daily chart. Up near $8. It's still early. Market's only been open 20 minutes. SPFM's looking super bullish. Nice. Good job, Irish. 333. ALVR, your make it or break it's going to be $7 if that's the stock you're interested in. Gotta hold and build off of 7. SBFM, our level is 4 to build up off of. LLAP, your level is going to be 550 to build up off of for continuation. Mdvl, still gearing up and working for that $3 squeeze. So we do have some good setups out here, guys. Got a handful of good setups. SBFM's gearing up pretty tightly for that snap up to 450. Got INDO running up too. Looks like this will run up to about 28. ALVR right back up there at 8. This stock's too risky though. Still that's super early to get in like that at 675 on ALVR, because you just don't know if it's going to continue to rip up, you know. But if you quickly got in on that, it paid. You know my style though, man. I don't like focusing on number one hot chick of the day stocks. Get a good bottom wick down there at 675 too. Real quick, LLAP, this thing's really starting to take off. It's just blowing through our levels. Every single level we drew out, it's played to a T. Next stop for this is going to be up at 650 and 7. One level at a time. Now it's up at 640s. This has got a lot of room to run, man. It could definitely see $10. And look at what's the volume on this? LLAP's only got 2.2 million in volume, and look at how much it's ripping and skipping. ALVR, and this is just my opinion, look at, it's got 18 million in volume. No, 36 million in volume. It's doubled in volume. And it had one good rip in the morning. Now it's just a lot of back in action tug of war. How's that saying go? Too many hands in on the pot. Always think of that saying, more people, more problems. I liked what you were thinking, though, this morning with it off that 675. That was your opportunity right there, but you had to have been quick. There she squeezed over 8. $6. Looks like SBFM fell through that 4. From yesterday's wedge right here. It set up another wedge right there. Fell right through it. Go LLAP. Pop back up to high of day there, get a micro pullback. Still got SEV holding up there at 7. Yeah, MG Netflix. We were talking about that this morning. Huge downfall for Netflix. Netflix is still getting drilled down. Yeah, it's not going to be a good idea to go after Netflix today. That stock's got to bottom out. There's going to be a lot of long-term investors panic selling on Netflix. When we were looking at the daily chart here, just simply look back the last time it had a huge gap down. See, it took a couple days for it to bottom out here. 2 days after it had that big gap down. With the bottom wicks, it finally bottomed out there at, what was that, 340s? And then it had a nice rip up to 460s. The $120 bounce there in a week. It took a week for it to bounce up. It's a nice bounce right there. So just wait for it to bottom out. Still a lot of upside potential. And then right when I took my eyes off of it, LLAP rips up. Held our $6, built up off of 6 to that 650. Now it's exploding over 7. Next level is going to be 750. Then $8. So far, so good on LLAP. This has been the #1 stock in small cap land this morning, besides ALVR. Now look at the volume start to pour in on LLAP. When we were just looking at it, it was crossing over 2 million in volume on the day. Now it's at over 6 million in volume on the day. So it's going off on everybody's stock scanners. Well, LLAP, it's a new name IPO. That's been the theme this year. New name IPOs have been running, right? Always pay attention to the theme, man. The stock market's very trendy. We've seen so many new name IPOs that have opened within the last 6 months get hot. So many of them. And a good thing with new name IPOs, you don't really have that much volume holding it back. So there's no bag holders. And so once they do get that one big day in volume, it's at record volume. Now we're halted up at 763. LLAP, we could see $10. Exactly, Frank. Yup. You nailed it right on the head, dude. The market has not valued the IPO yet, really. So that's got to take place. Good deal on LLAP. This was on our radar pre-market, along with a handful of other stocks, but out of all of those stocks that I had on my watch list, LLAP was the one that popped. I also, let's take count real quick. I had LLAP, that was one. Then I had Mdvl. Actually, this is a good little lesson. So far, LLAP has been the top runner this morning, along with ALVR. ALVR running up from $7 up to a high of $8.50, gapping up pre-market as you see. And then LLAP running up this morning from 5. Now it's currently halted up there at 760s. With this lesson, I want to go over and preach the importance of having a variety of stocks on your watch list in the morning. I had a handful of stocks on my watch list this morning. We had Mdvl on our watch list this morning, and it still is on my watch list. It was in play recently. It's pulled back. You're getting some action today, setting up for a potential squeeze up over that $3. I also had SBFM this morning on my watch list. This stock got driven down from 5 all the way down to 3. Then you got a nice perk up here yesterday at the end of the day. It pulled back and it held most of its gains, and it was starting to build and starting to retest previous day's highs. So you'd keep it on watch to build and potentially continue to push up. I also had GNS on my watch list this morning. This was a new name IPO. Just opened literally like 5 days ago. You see how wild the price action was on this. And then it had a huge downfall, and it's just been sitting down here at $6. So to have a variety of stocks that you're keeping on watch in the morning and continuously checking up on all of your stocks, which one is setting up the best, rotating through your stocks. That's why I recommend having multiple monitors and having all of your stocks that you want to keep on watch pre-market, post them up like this. That way you're easily able to keep your eyes on them. You could scroll out on the charts and then focus on the stocks that are performing. Always focus on the stocks that are performing. Don't focus on duds or stocks that have failed and shown you that they have failed time and time again. You want to keep your eyes fresh, always looking around, because you can get tunnel vision and it can happen easily. You can get tunnel vision. Clearly, the number one stock this morning was ALVR. This morning pre-market, ALVR was the number one stock gapping up this morning. It's at total volume on the day, ALVR. It's at 50 million in volume on the day, and the market has only been open for 45 minutes. That's a lot of volume pumping into this one stock here. But I like the saying, the more people you have, the more problems you're going to have. So a stock can easily get overcrowded. So a stock like this, ALVR, it's the number one big stock gapping up pre-market. I like to use the term hot chick of the day. You may have heard those guys at My Investment Club or MIC use this reference too. I took it from them. The hot chick of the day. This is the stock that everybody is looking to trade and they all have eyes on it. Now in my situation, I don't really want to focus on the stock that everybody has their eyes on, because you just have too many opinions going on, too many theories, too many opinions, trading strategies. All it's going to lead into is a headache and a tug of war. So you got 50 million in volume on ALVR, and all it's really done this morning, the first 45 minutes, was rip up $1.50. And look at it, what it's taken to rip up $1.50. You got a lot of big red death candles on it, a lot of long wicks on this. It's a tug of war. Now flip back over to LLAP. This stock has ran from $5 up to $8 a share. That's a $3 move to the upside nonstop. And LLAP has only done, right now it's at 8.5 million in volume. So look at the volume difference right there between these two stocks. You got ALVR, that's at 60 million in volume on the day. And you got LLAP, that's only at 8 million in volume on the day. And look at the price difference and how it likes to move between the two. Like I said, more people you have, the more problems you're going to have. This is a lot much of a cleaner rip and even a setup. Stock just kept pushing up, getting tight pullbacks, pushing up, tight pullbacks, pushing up. And it's breaking up and through clean levels as well. For example, $5 up to $5.50. From $5.50 up to $6. Runs up to $6, pulls back to $5.50. Nice, easy levels to base your technical analysis off of. Rips up through $6, runs up to $6.50. Pulls back to $6. Off of $6 up to $6.50, explodes up to $7.20s. Halted up there at $8 a share. Now it's pulling back down near that $6.50. Easy, basic, technical analysis. Now we go back to ALVR, for instance. Look at the way that this stock and the price action that this is liking to move. Here at $7 a share, right there, we'll draw our green line. The stock's in and out of that. Wicks up here to 720s. Rips down here to 673. There's a lot of fluctuation going on here in and out of that $7, right? There's a 50-cent range going on with this type of stock in the morning. finally gets this rip to the upside and into a halt up at almost $8 a share. And when they reopen it, look at this wild price action going on here with that candle right there. From $7.50 to $8.25, that's just about a $1 range on a 1 minute candle. A huge tug of war going on. The bears and the bulls, they don't know which way they want to take the stock. Stock gets another candle right here. Look at the long wick on it. The big red body. Bottoms out here at 725. Grinds back up to its highs. Pulls back 750 right there. Then you get a big green candle here from 750 up to 850, and then just a sitting, lingering at its high. Now it's pulling back down. All this consistent volume flowing into it non-stop. On average, the stock has been getting around 1 million in volume per 1 minute since the market opened. So they're going to overwhelm this stock, exhaust it. All these different factors I'm throwing at you. It can be a lot to take in, especially when this is all going on real time. And this is the importance of this whole video, stock selection. Do you want to be focusing on the stock that everybody is focusing on? A tug of war? A headache? Or do you want to have a handful of stocks that you're keeping your eyes on? LLAP, look at how volume gradually came into this over time as it kept pushing up. And every single time this stock made a new high, more and more volume kept pushing into this stock. You want to be the 10% that think differently and outside of the box. The 10%, that's the smart money, you guys. So I know this lesson was a bit everywhere and thrown at you, but I wanted to make something real clear across the board. The importance of having stock selection and knowing what stocks to focus on, and why it's good to have multiple stocks on your watch list in the morning. And you don't need to have 20 stocks on your watch list every morning. That's a bit overwhelming, especially if you're new. Start with just a couple, maybe 2 or 3 stocks. And then as the day progresses, rotate through your watch list. Sort them. What's the best performing setup or the best potential setup? What's the least potential setup? And so on. And by practicing this every day in, day out, the same routine, you're going to get better. You're going to get faster. You're going to see setups work. You're going to see setups fail. You're going to see these different types of personalities these stocks like to have. And then you're going to start developing your own thesis and opinions for these stocks. You're going to start to realize and see what works, what doesn't work. Yeah, that was a bit out there and thrown at you guys. I think I might add on to that though too and make a part 2 to that. That SEV, yeah, I was just about to say, it's still holding at that $7. It's holding at that $7 quite well. Got a nice little rounding action going on there. Nice rounding bottom at 675. Now it's perking up and holding up at that 7. You could still see a squeeze on SEV. This could squeeze up back up to its highs at 850. But the stock, it's got to prove itself, man. It's got to break up over 750. That's a weak little bounce there so far in Netflix. Look at the consistent volume flowing into this. For a large cap stock at $220 a share, every 1 minute, this stock has consistently around 800,000 pumping into it every 1 minute. That's a lot of money. I'm going to quickly label this recording part 1, and then I'm going to jump into part 2. All right, as an extra little bonus, I'll do a part 2 to this. And I do not mean at all to just throw all of this at you and overwhelm you with all of the information that I'm giving you. But most importantly, what I'm trying to do is open your eyes to everything that goes on out here in the markets. We're all out here trying to make money, and you're going up against other retail investors, traders, swing traders, short sellers, longs, institutions, banks, algos, computers, all of that stuff. There's multiple different factors every single day. Like, for instance, right now, everybody's talking about Netflix. Netflix is having a huge gap down this morning. It was up here at $350 a share, and literally overnight, this stock gaps down $100 to $250, and everybody's panicking. Look at the volume difference from yesterday to today. So clearly, there's a lot of buzz going on with Netflix. And then you also have the indexes, like the SPY, the NASDAQ. You always want to know where your indexes are at. Your indexes are the leaders. Wherever the saying goes, 3 out of 4 stocks follow the overall market. If you don't really get what that means, the indexes or the SPY, I like to follow the S&P 500. There's some people out there that like to follow all of the indexes. Some people like to follow the NASDAQ. There's multiple different ETFs and indexes that track the NASDAQ. One of the popular ETFs that tracks the NASDAQ is the QQQ. For me, In this video, I like to track the S&P 500, the ETF SPY. To me, I consider the SPY mother. Whatever mother does, her children are sure to follow. So knowing where your indexes are at, what's the big picture here? Is it in an overall bullish uptrend? If so, 3 out of 4 stocks are going to be in that bullish uptrend as well. There's going to be positive momentum. Now, if we're in a down channel or a downtrend with the indexes and the SPY, and there's negative energy out there, selling going on, like recently here with the SPY, we're looking at a 10-minute time frame here. From the beginning of April, or at the end of March, I'd say, right here. End of March, I'll draw a straight line up. We topped out up here at 460s. And since then, we were in a long down channel for the longest time. Over a month, or almost a month, we were in this down channel. And we recently broke up out of that down channel and we're getting positive momentum to the upside. So knowing where you're at in your indexes, you could be trying to buy a breakout on a stock. And in the indexes, you could be at the top of a trend channel resistance. So knowing where all of this stuff's at, everything has their own little part in these gears. There's multiple gears that work in the markets. So you're trying to buy a breakout, high of day breakout, weekly breakout on a stock. And the SPY, S&P 500, is at the top part of its channel and at resistance. That's something you could easily overlook or not even know to look out for. So always refer to your indexes, know where they're at. There's positive momentum in the markets because we're breaking up out of that down channel and the overall sentiment is bullish for the indexes. So that should follow over through to a lot of your stocks. Now brings us to our next topic. Is your stock correlated with the market? A lot of your small cap stocks, I consider them the Wild West. You're not really going to see them correlated with the market much, but there are times the stocks are correlated with the market. They are. When the market moves up, the stock should move up and follow. And how to really tell if your stock is correlated with the market, either one, you could look at the beta. If you don't know what the beta is, BETA, go to Encyclopedia, look up beta, learn about it. It's a handy tool to have. Or you could just look at the chart, pull up the SPY, and compare the SPY with your stock. Do the charts look similar? If so, they're correlated. If they don't look the same, then they're not correlated. A great website you should always have up all the time, besides FinViz and Yahoo Finance, CNBC. CNBC is always going to give you the top and latest thing of what's going on inside the market. And as you see here, right on the front page of CNBC, what are they talking about? Netflix. Right there. Netflix stock plunges 37% on shocking subscriber loss. So everybody right now has their attention and eyes on Netflix. That's where their attention is. So you're going to have a lot of volume drawn over to Netflix, and people are going to be focused on their longer term portfolios. With Netflix having that huge gap down, there's going to be a lot of panic in that. And then also, what time of year is it? Are we in earnings season? 4 times a year, companies come out and they put out earnings. So if you're in the middle of earnings season, small cap stocks are not really going to be in play. all of your large cap stocks are going to be in play. When it comes to earnings season, all the big money out there, they're going to be focused more on their big portfolios. So they're going to want to pay attention to how these companies are putting out their financial reports to keep tabs on their 401k, their long-term portfolio. So as you're watching and listening to this video here, you're slowly starting to see and understand there's many different moving parts that goes into being a trader and investor in the market. And a lot of it's got to do with being open-minded, seeing where the mass crowd is, where majority of people are focusing and paying attention. And what you really want to try to do is stay one step ahead of everybody. And now it may seem complicated, but it is achievable. How many times have we seen perfect A+ setups and patterns or potential setups for stocks, put together a plan and it play out to the T as we planned it? That's staying one step ahead of everybody else. Recently, we had big runners in stocks like VERU. Right here, this stock had a really good run up. Look at here on the 10-minute. From $4.50, this stock ran all the way up to 15 bucks. Pulled down to $9.50. And then ran right back up to new highs up at $17.50. Now it's pulling back down again, back down to 11. Over the course of time, every new day in the stock market, there's going to be new stocks that pop, run, and go. Stocks like LLAP, for example. This is a new stock up and running today. ALVR. This is a new stock up and running today. Every day there's going to be new stocks that come and go. And then over time, people are going to forget about this stock. It's going to be hot today, but tomorrow something else is going to pop up and run. And this is going to slowly start to fade off as people slowly move on to the newest and biggest thing. You got to think of people in the stock market. It's just like Apple. When Apple comes out with new products every year, right? People get excited. If you ever seen the lines at the Apple store when they come out with new products, it's a super long line, isn't it? There's all kinds of people excited and eager to get their hands on the new Apple iPhone. They can't wait and they're willing to pay top dollar. It's called getting involved with the hype. So as people gravitate to the biggest and newest thing, ALVR for example, people are slowly going to forget about the top runners, VERU, ATER. They're slowly going to forget about these top runners. And a lot of times, this is where you're going to make some of your easiest money. Because people are going to forget about these stocks, move on to the newest and greatest thing. And you're going to see an A+ setup on these stocks people forget about. That's where the 10%, this is where they're making their money, you guys. See a potential setup, let it pull back. Let it set up in your stages. There's good bounce opportunities, reversals. So there's multiple different ways you can look at the stock market, you guys. That's the number one thing I want to get across in this video lesson. And this is going to be a long lesson, I know. But there's just so much to talk about and go over. And with all of this information, now you can see you can easily overlook something and then it's gone. That opportunity is gone. But don't be ashamed of yourself because you missed out on an opportunity. Remember, the stock market, it's unlimited opportunity. Every single day, the stock market gives us opportunity. All you have to do is patiently wait for these opportunities. Educate yourself on what to look out for. Surround yourself with like-minded people, good positive energy. Study your butt off. It's like I tell you guys, the more you educate yourself, the more edge you have over everybody else. There's a lot of stupid money out here just throwing money into the stock market, you guys. There is. And for you longtime members here, you guys can agree with what I'm about to say. We see a lot of people come and go in this game. A lot of people. People want to make money fast. They want to make money now. INDO, for example, as we were just talking about it. Energy stocks were hot recently. Look at this explosion from $15. It exploded all the way up to almost $30 a share. So it doubled in value in one day right there. And since this day, day 2, day 3, day 4, look what it's doing. It popped up here, it pulled back, it held most of its gains, right? From 15 running up to $28. This is a little pullback to $22. And off of that $22 level, look at all of those different opportunities you could have gotten in on this stock and rode it up to $30, $25, $26. There's a lot of money to be made out here, guys, and there's a lot of opportunity out here. It's just all about educating yourself and knowing what to focus and pay attention to. And I know it's a lot of information I just threw at you. It can be overwhelming. But just take your time with it. Rome wasn't built in one day, right? Over time, learn something new every day. Get into that routine of developing good, healthy habits. Showing up every day, studying every day. You're putting together a watch list. You're seeing how these stocks play out every day. You're doing that work. That's the most important thing. And then over time, by showing up every day, you're going to get used to seeing setups, seeing successful setups, seeing failed setups. All good things come with time, you guys. That's going to be a super long lesson, man. It's just so much to talk about, man. It's hard to cover one specific topic because you just start branching off into all these other different topics and subjects and look at MARPS. You zoom out on this, it's still holding up at that $10. Well, I would say $9 or $9.25 right there. You could see it's starting to build up. And what's funny about this, when you look at it, yeah, this is a energy stock. So with INDO, if you compare the two charts, INDO and MARPS, they look very similar. Look at it as tuition, Frank. We're all gonna learn something new every day. It really, when you take losses too, it really makes you appreciate too. Like, man, when you look back and be like, when I made $100, like, it really makes you appreciate those small green days, doesn't it? You look back and you're like, man, and you just slowly start to evolve and appreciate, like, man, I don't have to trade every day. And I should have been more appreciative when I traded last Tuesday and I was up $300 on the week. I could have not traded the rest of the week and have been fine. Pain is an excellent teacher, yeah. As long as you condition yourself to grow and improve. I've been seeing a lot of posts recently. I shared one with you guys in the Traders Lounge. Right here. All these pictures. I've been seeing a lot of people recently post about what it takes to be a successful trader and why so many people fail. There was even a Reddit post. I was reading it this morning before I jumped on with you guys. Let me see if I can find it. I'll post it to you guys. I'll post it in the Wednesday chat. Right here. This was in my email this morning. Why aren't you profitable? And if are, why? Click on this real quick. And there's all kinds of people in here giving their opinion on what it takes to be a successful trader. People fail for a lot of reasons. Giving up, being stubborn, not being stubborn enough, refusal to accept accountability for mistakes, inability to be self-sufficient at researching, developing strategies. That's a big one right there. And I think a lot of you members that have been with me for a year or more, this one makes a lot of sense. Inability to be self-sufficient at researching and developing strategies. I've told all of you guys countless times, it's about you putting in the work, because your eyes are going to see things differently than my eyes. My eyes are going to see things that you don't. We all see opportunities in different places. That's why you have to take the wheel and you have to develop your own set of strategies. Getting greedy, growing complacent, lack of impulsive control. That's another big one. Lack of impulsive control. Lack of self-insight. That's another big one. Lack of self-insight. Inability to regulate physical, emotional interactions. Inability to regulate a wallet. Chasing silver bullets. Gambling addiction. Delusion. I can't even say that word. Delusionment. Or delusional. There's a lot of good posts in here. I just keep I just keep ruining good trades. Gonna try and stick to the rules I set though. My brother gave me a big talking to after I showed him the things I built in TradingView. Hopefully I can stop going sideways now with his advice. You know what his problem probably is? Money. That's a big problem for a lot of people. They're trading with money they can't afford to lose. It's all the money that they have. You can't have any emotional attachment to your trading account's money. None. I don't physically comment on any Reddit or Twitter post. I just like to go through and see what people are talking about. There's too many trolls and negative energy when you comment on that type of stuff. But there are some good lessons to be learned from going through and reading what Reddit and Twitter has. It's just everybody wants to make that fast cash. Man, INDO, when you look at it, it sure is beautiful, isn't it? This stock just set up multiple wedges. Right at 23 here, it set up a wedge, broke up out of it, pulled back. See how it just held up and above where it broke out from that wedge? Right at just underneath 24 bucks and $23. This morning it opened up, it held just above that previous day's clothesline, that blue line, right at 24 bucks, and built up off of that. Now look, it's up at $27.50. That's a $3.50 upside just off of something simple like that. Just focusing your eyes off of that 24 bucks, that general area. Something as basic and simple as that. Not getting caught up in the price action of things. Even as I progress in my career, I'm starting to appreciate a lot more and trying to build my trading off of levels like this. All you had to have done was just focus on the stock building up off that 24 bucks. Didn't even really come close. It built up off of 24.50. And then up she went. Yeah, look at ALVR. Told you guys this stock was going to be a nightmare. Anytime you guys have a stock that's the number one, I'm telling you, stay away from it. It's not worth it. It's just gonna, it's too complicated. Give me like 2 minutes. I gotta get something to drink, and I'm gonna record another lesson here about why to stay away from overcrowded stocks. Yo, you have a nice day, J. Calvin. You have a nice day. How many of you realized today's 420 and then checked up on pot stocks? Don't lie. I have not checked pot stocks at all, but it has crossed my mind. MJ. TLRY. They ain't doing nothing. Just decaying as normal. That's another good one, man. I'm on a roll today with wanting to record lessons. With it being 420 and all. There goes SCV. Frank, if you would have been just a little bit more patient, my man, you would have nailed it. I like that. I like that gif there. That's a good saying. All good things to those who wait. All right, I'm gonna jump into this pot stocks one real quick with it being 420, and I'll probably try to post this one today. SEV, that was a good one, man. It built right off of that $7. Nice rounding out. Now it's gonna rip up to 750. That previous day's clothesline, 750, and pull back 725, build up, bust up through 750, run up to 825, 850. So there's still an upside of $1 potential with SEV, with a downside risk of, I'm gonna say 30 cent. It's still worth it. I mean, it's only got 8.5 million in volume on the day, so it's still early. I think the most popular weed stock is TLRY, right? I believe so. All right. Thanks, Hawk. Oh, Investopedia has top marijuana stocks for April 2022. Let's look at those real quick. What are they? GRWG. AYR. No, IIPR. Hey, man, it's always good to have you, Irish. It's good to see you in here this morning, too. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the flip side as always, my man. Good job today on that green day. Solid. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. All right, so with today being April 20th, 2022, 420, let's talk about pot stocks, marijuana stocks. This could be a touchy subject. I may rub some people the wrong way, and I'm also curious to see what you guys have to say about this. I'm going to throw out my opinion on pot stocks, marijuana stocks, what I have seen throughout my career. This isn't really about who's right, who's wrong. I always want to look at the chart and have the stocks tell me the story. So with pot stocks, and this is a touchy subject for some people, pot stocks back in the day, they were hot. They were hot for a very short period of time when all of these states, like first state was Colorado, started to legalize recreational marijuana. Then slowly all of these other states started to follow. California. I live in Michigan. There's recreational marijuana. You can grow marijuana and distribute it. And with pot stocks for a short time, I think this was back in 2018, they went on a big run, and you've seen a lot of pot stocks run and go. Now, still to this day, I see TLRY pop up pre-market or pop up, and there's always somebody. There is always somebody that says, TLRY, do you think it will continue? And in my honest opinion, this is my opinion though, and I'm also curious to hear what you guys have to say about pot stocks. There's no really potential or money opportunity in pot stocks unless you're a short seller. With pot stocks, they naturally decay. That's all they do. How many times have you seen TLRY, for example, and this is the example we're going to use for this video. This is one of the most popular marijuana pot stocks there is out there. But how many times have you seen TLRY gapping up pre-market and then just slowly fade off right back down to where it came from? My whole career, just about, this is what I see happen a lot with pot stocks. And there's always that one person that comments, what do you think about TLRY or OCG or something? I forget the name of these pot stocks. But first and foremost, marijuana, pot, they have an ETF, MJ, Mary Jane. That's the marijuana ETF. And when you look up at the daily chart, let's pull the daily chart up for MJ. You can scroll out on this and see that this stock has just been getting drilled down ever since this run up here, up to $34. It's just been getting just straight up wrecked, making lower lows, lower highs. It's naturally decaying and falling apart. Ever since that big run up, 2021, when it topped out, ever since then, it really hasn't proven itself. It's just been falling apart, falling and falling and falling and falling. And I swear to you, every single time pre-market TLRY gaps up, it just slowly fades off the whole day and falls right back down to where it came from. Now, what's with it with pot stocks? With it getting recreational use, and everybody is now getting their marijuana card and smoking marijuana freely, why isn't the value going up? Well, with my thinking in the whole thing, there's too many hands in the honey pot. Too many hands. Look at around where you live. I live in Michigan, for example. So I remember when marijuana first got legalized. When it got legalized, I swear to you guys, on every single corner, there was around 5 to 8 mom and pop dispensaries that would pop up and want to sell pot. The market is over diluted with people wanting to make money in the pot field. Now with Uncle Sam wanting to dip his hands in, and you got to give Uncle Sam his portion. There's all kinds of people out here wanting to open up a dispensary, make money. The market is overpopulated with people wanting to make money in this field. So anytime you have an object that's, what's the word I'm trying to use here? Oversaturated with people, it's overpopulated, there's going to be no value there. It's the basics of supply and demand, right? You have low supply of something and a huge demand, prices are going to skyrocket. If you have a huge supply of something and not much demand, prices are not going to go any higher because there's an oversupply of it. That's the perfect explanation that I have with pot stocks. I remember back, this was like a year ago, we had a guy in our Discord group. He was so obsessed with pot stocks, and some of you guys may recall his name because that's all he would talk about is marijuana pot stocks. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, dude, down the road, it's eventually going to burn you. Because what would happen was he would just keep averaging in on these pot stocks every week. He would be buying and buying and buying. And then it would gap up and he'd be wanting to sell. And then that's all the pot stocks are filled with, are swing traders, bag holders. Now, I don't even know if that guy's around anymore because he just slowly vanished and disappeared. So I have no clue what happened to him. But looking at the chart, and when I break it down, with it slowly decaying like this, probably lost all of his money, or a big portion of his money, because all they do is naturally decay. So I'm not here to try and bash on people who like these pot stocks. I wanted pot stocks to be hot and in play all the time because it just offers more opportunity. But when I look at the daily chart, let's pull back up the daily chart again. When I look at the daily chart and I really break it down, there's really no opportunity there. It's really dried up. Sure, it had one good run here, but then after that, this stock has given back everything and then some. So until we break up out of this downtrend and marijuana confirms that it's in an uptrend, it's a no-go right now. You could see, and you could clearly draw lines out on this chart just by connecting all of the lower highs, where we've been in a confirmed downtrend for over a year and a half now. We broke up out of this trend right here with this little pop, but as you see, it just gets drilled right back down again to where it came from. So there's no establishment with marijuana. It's not building off of anything. This stock just keeps making lower lows, lower highs. If maybe from here on out, it can start building up off of this and up through 10 and starting to build, then yeah, maybe you can add it to a swing trading portfolio or even a longer term portfolio. But as of right now, it's just an endless pit that you're burning into your pocket. And like we were just talking about, too many people have their hands in the pot. All of these different dispensaries are popping up. They're trying to make money. You got Uncle Sam putting a high tax dollar on marijuana. Sure, the marijuana is fantastic and there's different strains of it. There's all different varieties. There's a lot of money in marijuana if you're a dealer, but we're traders. There's no really trading opportunities in the marijuana field. Maybe if you get into the penny stocks of things, I don't know. But I mainly focus MJ and TLRY, and these are my personal opinions on the pot sector and whatnot. And you can go off and branch out into other different industries and subsectors of marijuana. Let's look at FinViz real quick. Pull up FinViz, type in TLRY. Go into the drug manufacturers, specialty, and generic. Go into that subsector there. Go into the percentage change. Look at all of these different marijuana related stocks and start breaking it down. You may find a little niche somewhere in, let's say, a subsector. They come out with soil or something for these pot stocks to grow, or there's some type of chemical out there that keeps the mites down when these pots are growing. But with it being 420 and all, I thought I'd make a quick video on pot stocks, marijuana stocks, give you guys my opinion and take on it. I see a lot of people always talk about TLRY every single time it pops, and I say the same thing every single time. It's just gonna fade back down to where it came from. Pot stocks are weird. They were hot for one moment and then they weren't hot again. If you're a short seller, business has been booming for pot stocks. But for longs and long-term swings or longs period, it's just been a money pit. There's really no opportunity. It's overpopulated. I'm Mr. Wolf. I'm honestly curious to hear what you guys have to say about pot stocks. What do you guys think? If you're new to the channel here, hit that subscribe button. Check out my video library. There's over, 700, 800 videos, educational videos in my library. Check it out. Take advantage of the education at your disposal. And if you're interested in joining the Trading Learning 101 Discord group, there should be a link to the Discord group down in the video description below. Enjoy the rest of your 420, guys. Happy 420. And until next time, have that patience, have that discipline, study, study, study. Later, guys. I'll try to get that one out today. Since it's 420. Just seems fitting. All right, so the next one, stay away from overcrowded stocks. Staying away from overcrowded stocks. With this lesson, I'm going to tell you my opinions on why to stay away from these types of stocks. Day one, sure, you're going to see successful day one runners, but believe me or not, and I've been doing this for over 7 years, more times you're going to see a lot of the day one runners fail majority of the time. They do run, don't get me wrong, but most of the time you're going to see them fail. Overcrowded stocks, you may refer to it also as the hot chick of the day or the top runner of the day. And this is where we're going to break it down. So with this example, ALVR, this was gapping up pre-market. You can clearly scroll out on the 1 minute chart here, and you can see the previous days here, there was no volume at all the way leading up to this day, April 20th, 2022. They come out with the press release that attracts all of this volume today. Now, the first place you should be starting is the daily chart. Always the daily chart. Looking back to see, has this stock ran in the past? Do you see any big green candles? Does this stock have a history of running? No. Is there any big volume days? No. So the stock has no history of running, no big volume days. And the stock this morning was gapping up to $6. Up over $6 to $7. But then when you look above that, you see there's a blue line here. That's the 50-day moving average. That's right at $7.66. So right around $8 a share. And you could see the stock was finding resistance and recent price action at $8, $9. So there's a lot of overhead for this type of stock. Every $1. So $7, $8, $9, and then that psychological $10. There's a lot of overhead. And you know, as a trader, people don't like stocks with a lot of overhead. It's just too complicated. The float on the stock is 32 million, so it's a medium float stock. which means you're going to need a lot more volume to get things up and rolling. It's just the basics of supply and demand. And when we really zoom in on the 1 minute time frame, market opens up with the volume down here. Look at it, how much volume was flowing into this stock per 1 minute. Every 1 minute, on average, this stock was getting 1 million in volume. That's a lot of volume flowing into the stock every 1 minute. At one moment, it was at 8 million in volume on the day. Then it was at 20 million volume on the day, 40 million volume on the day. So far, ALVR currently at 11:30 a.m., 2 hours after the market opened, we're at 67 million in volume on the day. That's a lot of volume for this stock. 67 million in volume. Looking at the characteristics of this stock, look at all of the upper wicks on this stock this morning, all right here. A lot of tug of war, back and forth action as prices rip from 7 up to 730, flushes out down to 670. So right here in this little area, there's a 50-cent range going on this type of stock. Somebody jumping in, not considering their size, buying 1,000 shares or 2,000 shares, and a stock's fluctuating up and down 50 cents at a time. You're watching your P&L, and that could freak you out, triggering emotions and making you screw up the trade. But from 7, we explode up into a halt right here, up just underneath $8. And then right when this stock reopens, look at that candle right there. The long upper wick, the long bottom wick on it. That's just about a, 75-cent range on a 1 minute candle here. Prices get drilled down. Look at that candle. It's a different story when you're in on a stock like this real time versus going back and just looking at it. You kind of want to put yourself in a perspective when looking at these candles. Man, if I was in on this stock while it was having this type of price action, what would be going through my head? Would I be freaking out? From 720, grinds back up to 8, gets a pullback, and then in one candle explodes from 750 up to 850. So we're seeing a lot of 50-cent, $1 fluctuation on this type of stock. Then it just right at $8.50 just lingers around up there and then just starts collapsing and falling apart. It went on a good run this morning from 660s up to 850s. Overcrowded, all these people jumping in on it. Then when it starts to stall out, everybody bails on it, crashing the stock down. These overcrowded stocks, you're going to find them a lot of times a bit complicated to trade. Anytime you have an overcrowded stock, you always got to consider the different opinions, trading strategies. All of these different people have different set of eyes. They're looking at the stock. They have different trading strategies, different philosophies. So you got people using MACD, Kettler channels, Elliott wave, Fibonacci retracements, RSI. All of these different trading strategies in an overcrowded stock lead to a back and forth tug of war, indecision, bulls and bears back and forth, scratching at each other. They're battling for price control, right? That's why a lot of times with these overcrowded stocks, this is why a lot of people lose money on these type of stocks. They get googly-eyed over the top hot stock of the day, and then they see at the corner of their eye something that is less crowded effortlessly push up and run without them. Another example, LLAP this morning. While that was going on with ALVR, LLAP just gradually lifts up here from $5, runs all the way up to a high of $8 a share the first half hour, 45 minutes of the day. And look at every single time the stock pushed up, got a nice pullback, push, pullback, push. Look at volume just gradually, little by little, trickle into the stock. And it tops out up here after it ran $3 a share. This was the less crowded stock. And even right now, total on the day, LLAP has only done 17 million in volume on the day. 17 million. That's it. Versus ALVR, that's done 67 million in volume. Just to show you guys, I'll bring up over this chart here and I'll blow this up. I'll type in ALVR. That's the stock. So these are the top two stocks right here. And this little box right here, this is the volume. Look at the volume difference if you can see it between the two. ALVR is at 67 million in volume on the day. LLAP is at 17 million volume on the day. And then you also have stocks like SEV is another stock running today. That's only got 10 million in volume on the day. And when you look at SEV, this one had a really good setup this morning. And it ran yesterday. It ran up from $4.50 all the way up to almost $9. This morning it opens up right near that $7. You get a nice rounding bottom forming on this right at that $7. That's why I try to teach you guys to focus on these psychological price levels. Rounds out at that $7, and then even going off of yesterday's run, it got a nice pullback. It's holding majority of its gains from yesterday. This is just a basic retracement and pullback for a continuation move back up. The overall sentiment is bullish. And people just quite frankly forget about these types of stocks. This stock had all of this volume day one. Look at the volume compared day two. It's like everybody left this stock, right? Why? What happened? Everybody gravitated over to the hot new stock, ALVR. That's what happened. And look at where ALVR is at. So look at, when I look at volume, and you guys have seen me use this multiple times here in the Discord. When I look at volume, I think of them as seagulls. You guys have heard me use this term multiple times in my videos. They're like scavengers, seagulls at the beach. You see all these seagulls just like rats going from food anything they can get at the beach, the scrappings. Mine, 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 mine. So anytime there's a stock that's gapping up and the number one stock, everybody gets unrealistic expectations. They see how much the stock ran up pre-market, and then they start to visualize. All they see is the reward. All they see is the reward part. That's all they see. How much the stock ran from here up to here. They don't see any of the downside for this stock. All they see is the upward potential. And you can easily get sucked up into focusing on the number one stock of the day. That's why I like to say, have a handful of stocks that you want to watch every single day. And a lot of times you're going to notice easy money opportunities in stocks people just simply forgot about. Stocks like recent runners, ATER. This stock ran for days. And now that it's not performing and making higher highs and higher lows, and it's in the backside, people are going to start forgetting about it. Already today, look at the volume diminish right there compared to all the days this stock kept pushing up to new highs. Remember, everybody has their scanners and screeners set up to pick up high of day breakouts, high weekly breakouts, monthly breakouts, yearly breakouts. People are taught and trained to look for stocks breaking to new highs on the day, the week, multi-day, monthly, weekly, yearly. There's a lot of different ways to make money out here. Here's another example. VERU. This was a number one stock recently, squeezing up from $4.50. This squeezed all the way up to a high of $17.50. Now, look at the volume attack it right here. And then as it starts to pull down, look at volume diminish. Then as it gets this next big run up here, look at that spike in volume. And then that spike in volume. And every time that this spiked up in volume, look at it also, it's retracing as well. Now it's practically no volume at all as it's getting drilled down. For me, I would be keeping my eyes on this for any type of reversal, momentum bounces to the upside. People forget about these types of stocks. They do. And a lot of times we see really good reversals and bounces on these types of stocks. Look at INDO, for example. This stock popped up and ran right here. Look at all that volume attack it. Then as it starts to pull back down, goes sideways near that $22. Look at that big spike right there. And look at volume chase it. Look at it as it starts to fall back down. Look at how volume diminishes. And then with it perking up right here, you got a little bump in volume right there. Not as high as it was over here and right here, but there's still opportunity. Off of that $22, $23, this stock ran up to almost 27 bucks. That's good money for a stock to run up from 23 to 27. That's a $4 move to the upside right there. It's all in the way you look at things. I say that all the time to you guys. We're all going to spot opportunity in different places. That's why it's good and healthy to break down charts. Break them down. Look at what you see. Where do you see opportunity? Because that's where it counts. Another example, real quickly. Mdvl. This is a really good example. This stock ran from $1.30 right here, ran all the way up to $2.50, running all the way up to $3.30. All right here running up. And then all this volume explodes into it. Look at how much volume was exploding into this stock when it was really getting extreme and running up to $3.30. That's insane. Insane to be buying a stock that ran up that high. And when you really look back, zoom out on this, and you're like, yeah, this stock just ran from $1.30 to $3.30. This is all the unrealistic expectations people get from these stocks. They think it can keep going and going and going. And then once it stops performing and starts to crumble, look at volume diminish. People leave it. They go off to something else, leaving it open for more opportunity down the road. And when you look at it, this stock, it crumbled down here, and then it flatlined right near that $2. Just a basic level, $2. From $2, it ripped right back up to its highs, just like that. And look at all the volume come right back into it, right there. Just volume disappears, and then comes right back. That's the smart money, the 10% right there at $2, watching and eyeing this thing, stalking it like a predator. Because like we were just talking about, every single day we see different stocks like ALVR. Every day something new pops up, and it's going to steal the attention from all of these other different stocks. And people are slowly going to start to forget about ATER, a previous runner. VERU, another previous runner. They're going to forget about SEV. They're going to forget about all of these previous runners. And the 10%, the smart money, this is where they're focusing their attention, you guys. They're not getting caught up in the hot stock of the day. LLAP, this thing ran up $3 a share effortlessly this morning. Effortlessly. On little volume. Versus that hot stock of the day, ALVR, what? This ran from $7. It ran up to $8.50. So it ran up $1.50 on all of this extreme volume right there. That's it. That ain't worth it. It's all about perspective and the way you see things, as I said. All right, it looks like I got some editing to do. We got to record, what, about 4 lessons today? Yeah, we recorded 4 lessons today. So I got some recording to do, and I'll try to put out that pot one today, since it's 420. Look at that IMTE. This thing got drilled. Look at that. Nano float stock, though, worth keeping an eye on, because if this thing starts catching heat, this thing could start skipping, man. Mdvl, man, that's looking like a squeeze all day. I'm gonna go ahead and bust up out of here, you guys. Thanks for tuning in with me with this stream today. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. No, I've never done 4 lessons in a row on a day before. Nah, it was after having yesterday off. And last week, I'm back and ready to get back on that grind, man. There goes Mdvl. Gonna squeeze up over 3. You could just see in the way it was gearing up all day. As I tell you guys, man, once a stock bottoms out, look for it to build up in levels. Right off of $2. Look at how tightly it pulled out right there. And then exploded off that 2. Up. Rips up to 320. Then it pulled back all right here. The next level it built off of was like that $2.25. All morning it kept popping up, pulling back, and just gearing up, man. Gearing up for that $3 run up. Mdvl, that was a good one. Same thing with SEV. Frank was all over SEV this morning, but look at how light volume is with this. That's why it's stalling out up there at 750. There's no demand for it. See, look at all that volume come into Mdvl now. It's starting to rip up new high of day, so it's going off on everybody's stock scanner, stock screener. they're getting alerted of this stock. That's where you got to take initiative and you got to prepare for this type of stuff. Study. CRXT. That one had a big ramp today, didn't it? This wasn't even on my radar today. So it's up 145% on the day, $2 a share. It's been trending up all day. So you got to get to that point of, man, how much further can it go? It hasn't really broke trend all day. But I'll tell you what, man, as soon as this does start to break trend, which it's pretty much testing it right now. This starts to break trend, it's gonna crumble hard. This thing's gonna free fall down here at about 250. Look at all that steady volume flow into this. Non-stop. They're gonna overwhelm and exhaust this stock. It still hasn't gone really euphoric yet. But look at that run, man. Last week, this was under $1. Now it's up at almost $4 a share. This company has timed 4 in value. That's pretty phenomenal. It's like you got beat running up too. Seen some good movers today. We had SEV have a go on a good run. CRXT, ALVR, even though it was overcrowded. Mdvl. LLAP. That's 5 stocks. Wow, CVM here. That's a pretty insane day one. And now it's bouncing today. But you see how, man, this is a perfect example of a chart speaking to you and setting up. The chart will make sense. When stocks are selling off or pulling back, let them do their thing. The chart will tell you when it's time. I see people chasing after downtrends or trying to predict when it's gonna bottom. Like, look at how much this stock ramped up and ran up here and then crumbled and fell apart, just making lower highs, lower lows, and then just leveling out. It stopped making lower lows, stopped making lower highs. Right from $3.25, it started to hold, and it started to build up off of that $3.25. And from that, look at where prices are at. It's up $1 and it's bouncing. Stop trying to predict when a stock's gonna bottom out. See, clearly this stock just kept getting driven down, making, like we said, lower lows, lower highs. It just kept getting drilled and drilled and drilled. It leveled out there after hours, but next morning pre-market, it's making new lows, lower high, drilled down again. Big picture ideas. Zoom out on that chart. This is something we've seen setups like this so many times. So many times. Just like we posted that gift this morning. Up here. All good things to those who wait. This is a patient man woman's game that we're playing here, you guys. Good bounce on CVM. And then now CRXT is pretty much doing the same thing. What that CVM did. And then also Mdvl, this is getting a good run up too, up over $3. Zoom out on this chart, the stock is squeezing. So now if this can pull back down, hold up at 275, build up off that and continue to squeeze up over 3. You can easily get caught up in the now of the trading. Focus more on big picture ideas. What do you see playing out at hand? And the more you do this, the more time you put into this game, you'll slowly start to see things happen over and over and over again. And you'll start to be more accepting and open to big picture ideas and stop stressing over the silly scalp trades of 5 pennies, 15 pennies. Scalping, that stuff's too stressful, man. You could really tell somebody's experience based on how they break down charts and understand stock movement. That CRXT starting to crack trend. For ALVR, if you were to look for any type of move on this, Man, this stock's got to come back up and get back up above $8 for any type of move. There's a lot of people trapped in on ALVR. Think of all that volume that was in on it this morning. They're all now underwater. LGVN. Oh, we already know LGVN. This stock likes to run, man. 4.6 million float. That 10-minute looks good. It rounded out. Nice bottom here at 9. It built up, worked its way up through 10. Held 10. Now it's working its way up to 11. Right there. I mean, this is looking really good, man. Next level is going to be 1150. If it can break through 1150, this stock can run up here to 1350. That's what I see. Over 1150. Nice bottom at 9. Nice bottom at 9. Worked its way up and through 10. Held 10. Now pushing 11. Over 1150. You could see 1350. Even here on the 3-minute, man, you could just look how beautiful this is, dude. Right off of $9. 9 up to 10. Some people would say probably 1050. Yeah, 1050. From 9 up to 1050. Holds back right here. It was trying to build up off of 10 right there for that 1050 break, and it finally broke up through 1050. Holds back, and then it held 1050 right there as support. Look at where she's at now. That was a beautiful call, Rome. This one you would have had to have been very patient. But C2, man, like look at it, how much volume LGVN has, and look at how effortlessly this thing's pushing up. What's the volume on this? It's only at 1 million in volume. That's it. Look at this thing skip up. That's easy money, man. Now you're probably going to want to see 11 hold as support. Yeah, I would say notice. Look at the range, and then it micro pulled back here, and then you got that pullback there. That's a 3-minute chart. lot of range for LGVN.